And welcome in. The black screen always gets me. I don't know when our intro is going to end, but we're alive here, folks. Week 14, the last week before the playoffs. It is finally here. We have been talking about this season. We're reaching that point where we're like, all right, I'm just ready for playoffs. Scoop past all this nonsense. Ready to get those teams in and do it. It is myself and Jeremy. Hashtag Isaac Garendo. Yes. How you doing, Jeremy?
Yeah, man. We were talking about it just before we started the show. I got some weird affection in the back of my head. I don't know what we're going to do about that, but we're going to see a doctor. Good thing is I live in a country where they don't really believe in antibiotics. So I'm just envisioning a doctor like grabbing my gland and like trying to ease some drainage down the back of my head as forcefully as possible.
Lovely.
And if that sounded gross to you, I don't know what's grosser, that image or the waiver wire this week, but at least we got one guy that maybe we can rely on.
There's stuff on the waiver wire, I will say. I've
Yeah.
seen quite a few articles of people listing players that are like 70 and 80% rostered, and I'm like, kick rocks, my friend. What league do you think this is? Is there 5 people in your leagues? Like, come on. So we're switching it up. We're only talking about people under 50%. I'm not even going the bigger league. We're just doing on sleeper leagues, 50% or less, because we're just wasting time talking about those guys. Because as fun as the Cedric Tillmans, all those guys are of the world, they are all rostered in too far amount of leagues. And at this point in your league, if they're available, you know who's available. You know the good players. Like we need to go over that. So let's just go straight and talk about them. Let's talk about quarterbacks because they're just much more interested in tight ends because tight ends really bad this week. Quarterback's not great either because my highlight guy is Will Levis. And I know that sounds abysmal, but they're playing Jacksonville. Jacksonville gives up the most fantasy points in the NFL to quarterbacks. So what are we doing? We're targeting the matchup. Will Levis has actually not been bad. Since he's been back starting, he's been solid for you for fantasy. So if you go on a points per game basis, ever since week, which is week, since he took over week 10, he has 19, 15, 16, and 16 fantasy points per game. Now, that doesn't sound anything crazy, but it's not killing you. And now he has a plus matchup against Jacksonville. I think he can give you 20 plus points in this game. Now, he needs to hit those touchdowns. But the thing about Will Levis that's underrated is his rushing. Because in that time span, he has 5 attempts, he has 7 attempts, he has 8 attempts, he has 2 attempts. Now, it's not a ton of yards, but he's giving you the little bit more rushing floor on top of it too. So I think Jacksonville, and then it follows up with Cincy. So if you're struggling in a deeper league and you could roll out Will Levis in back-to-back weeks, he could probably give you at least 15 points in both those matchups. It's not going to kill you, but you could survive. Outside of Will Levis, it gets really gross. Like it's tough. Obviously, Jameis Winston, like if he's available, I would prefer to go Jameis Winston, but my thought process is like his rostership is shooting to the moon because everybody's watching him. I think since he's been starting, he's the quarterback 2 on points per game basis because of just how monster that last game was. So yeah, I prefer Jameis Winston, even though the matchups are bad. I don't even care. Jameis Winston it is what it is. For you at quarterback, if you can't get Winston or if you're not going after Levis, is there anyone else? Because like Aaron Rodgers is under 50%, but like I don't even want to do the Jets offense, man. Like I just don't trust Rodgers. It's brutal.
I got one, and it's real ugly. And Two of D's nuts is kind of hitting on it. What about Cooks? We mentioned Cooks briefly, but it's Cooper Rush. Cooper Rush had a good game last week against the Giants, but guess what? He gets Cincinnati, the worst defense in the league, I think. And they're going to absolutely blow the doors off Cincy. Now, I expect Cincinnati to win. But there's touchdowns to be had in this game. I think Rico does well. I think, CD can get there. Maybe Ferguson comes alive. Maybe Brandon Cooks comes alive. So you can absolutely take the shot. And if you're not sure, you just want to get them for one game. Oh, wait, week 15, it's Carolina. Oh, wait, week 16, it's Tampa Bay. You're not playing any of these guys really in week 17 against Philly. But it's really interesting. These Dallas Cowboys, as bad as this should be, or as good as this would have been for Dak and company, I still think it's fine. I think you can get Rush. I think you can get a lot of these Cowboys if they're out there, if you need them, especially this week.
Yeah, and I think the other guy that's really low, if you really want to chase the dragon, it's Aiden O'Connell, but it's really low floor with him. I will say Cooper Rush has averaged 41 pass attempts his last 3 games. They're slaying the rock there. They are going to throw a lot. There's high variance. This is Jameis Winston. He's not as good of a quarterback as Jameis Winston, so there's just more variance with it, right? So you saw he only had 11 fantasy points last week, but yes, I think you definitely chase the matchups and go for it because you need it. I haven't checked who they're playing this week, so I don't know, but I'm very tempted. I will say that just because you know how much they're going to throw. the thing with Winston is bad matchups, but at this point, I'm just kind of like, I just don't care, to tell you the truth. Like, you just write it and you see. So when I do my rankings, he's going to be in that kind of tier with these guys. With Goff and Love, that neither one of those guys are really mobile. So you're just chasing passing yards and touchdowns is how it goes. So I'll say he's in that range. I don't know. I haven't done my full rankings yet just because, like, we're just into the week. So I want to see before I fully go into the rankings and do that. But I'll have an answer for you better by tomorrow.
I've got your matchups. Jordan Love is at Detroit. So that's an interesting one for Jordan Love, I think, because you can pass on Detroit. You have to pass on Detroit because you can't run on them. Jameis is at Pittsburgh. I don't love that, but we know he's going to slang the rock. Alex Highsmith due back this week. Not good for Jameis Winston. He could have more than 2 pick sixes in this game.
Oh, yeah.
It's very possible. So I prefer who's a Jordan Love, and then let's see who Goff plays. Goff plays Green Bay in that same game. Yeah. So, but it's in the Dome in Detroit, so it's at least interesting. I will go Jordan Love.
Yeah, I think Love's safe. If you want the upside, just Winston put up like 13 fantasy points. I think he did against Pittsburgh a couple of weeks ago. Mm-hmm. He got there late because they obviously threw it a ton. It just wasn't the blow up that the situation was. So I would say Love's safer. Winston's the upside. It really depends on Goff. Like, I expect Detroit to get out late in this game again. So it could be similar to what they did before where they don't really rely on him. He doesn't get the passing touchdowns. So yeah, I'll say Love by default. But if you need fantasy points, you want to shoot ceiling, like I would go Winston just because you got to kind of live with it. So know your matchup if you're behind or if you're heavily ahead in this game and projections wise, I just go Love because you don't have to worry about it. Yeah, well done. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, Jerry Jeudy was a monster. Yeah, there was something like if you were up by 65 points and you were going up against Jameis Winston and Jerry Jeudy, you would have got waxed. It's like
crazy.
Okay, good luck with that. Yeah, I mean the quarterbacks. There's not many really available, even one quarterback leagues because a lot of teams roster 2 quarterbacks. So at this point, we know. On the next show, since we got dip and get out of here, so is what it is. But yeah, that's week 14 waiver wire targets, man. If you can't get Grando, go get Elijah Moore. I'm just saying, just make that happen. Go get those guys. Enjoy the week. So this is playoff, folks. Yes, Nick Westbrook-Kine. Go get a guy that gives you production. Much easier wide receiver to find it than at running back. We all know this, right? So, yeah, that's it. Hopefully, you guys have the best of luck this week. For myself, Jeremy will be doing rankings moving forward. We'll be coming back into the fun rankings, going into that. We'll steamroll over the weekend. We'll talk about the roundtable and then start on Sunday. So, hopefully, y'all can join us there. We appreciate all the time you guys spend on this because you guys make this what it is. So, for the rest of us, fans football use, I'm gonna keep talking and we're gonna head out. So, take care, folks. Enjoy your waivers and go get your guys. See ya. Listen